just call him a grabber. Just, which one's his then?
I was really starting to like you, Finny.
If you try to touch me, I'll scratch your face. And whoever's coming will see and ask why.
This face?
I heard a little birdie told me that you attempted to watch Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, a Marvel Studios production. Now, what did you think of it?
Yeah. I didn't finish. I fell asleep at some point, and I woke up and things were happening, and I told my girlfriend I want to go to bed, so we turned it off. And then I quietly didn't mention it, so she didn't have to make me rewatch it or watch any of it more.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what happened. So this is probably rare for you to hear because you're very into Marvel and you know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt lost in a movie, but I can't think of the last Marvel movie I've seen. Like I definitely have not watched a Marvel movie in the last 2 years.
Right.
So I had no clue who the fuck anybody was. I haven't even seen Doctor Strange, the first one.
Well, that's an issue.
And like Wanda, I was like, so she just wants fake kids? Like I have no context to anything.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and that's on Disney's fault for making you watch so many shows and movies just so I know what's going on. But my main complaint, and this might also be due to the fact that I haven't watched a Marvel movie and I can't even count how many years, but no one seems to care that there's like giant tentacle monsters around and shit. Like I was actually going on a rant about this. Like you think in a world where like superheroes and villains like exist, they would fix like cities would fix their infrastructure, right?
Oh, sure.
Like we need to use stronger steel. We need maybe we shouldn't do skyscrapers anymore, you know? I don't know. I just feel like giant monsters and aliens in your world and people are so commonplace where instead of running, they just take out their phones. I feel like you need to make changes, you know?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, if we really want to get into it, it's like, I mean, it does seem more expensive to like completely rebuild everything than it is to just maintain it as best you can.
I understand, but like, I don't know. I just feel like they need something in place to deal with it, you know?
No, yeah. And there is something sort of like that. I don't even think they're in that Doctor Strange 2 movie, but they have like, there's like the Department of Damage Control. Or
okay.
Whenever a superhero event like happens, like they show up and like they like take a tally of all the damage and they will like literally bill like whoever is responsible, like Tony Stark, or I think it's even funded by Tony Stark. But
so it's just his own personal money.
Yeah, he's just funding it, and that's what happens like after like the first Avengers movie, their whole scuffle in New York. Like they just hired the damage control department to just come in and like clean it all up and make sure no one is taking home alien equipment. Shit like that.
How much do you think Endgame was worth?
I mean,
it depleted his bank account.
I'm sure it did. Yeah, I'm sure he just went broke after that one. Yeah, because I mean,
he comes back and the government's at his door. They're like, sir, you owe us $3 trillion.
Yeah, because I mean, just thinking about how many people like would have been in like driving like a car when they got snapped.
Yeah,
and then they just get like the car just like rams into other people and like destroys like property. It's like probably a lot of damage there that took them a long time to clean up.
How many small offices went crazy when their IT guy got snapped away? You know,
it's just complete chaos.
I can't print. No one can help me print. I don't know. I am just so disconnected from Marvel hype, and I didn't realize how clueless I actually was about Marvel. Like, I thought I had a pretty good beat.
No, I mean, just
story.
To watch like this Doctor Strange movie, you needed to have watched Spider-Man 3, you needed to have watched WandaVision, you needed to have watched Doctor Strange 1. I mean, you needed to have watched Endgame and Infinity War.
You need to watch Endgame because they were talking about the snap.
Right, yeah, exactly. So there's like a ton of content you need to watch Loki because that sets up all the multiverse stuff as well. So that's just a lot of content that most people are not going to go out of their way for, you know?
Yeah. So this was made for weirdos.
Like me.
Yeah. Well, my last like final complaint, and this is my main flaw of why I just don't watch Marvel movies in general. One, I think they're boring.
Yeah.
I don't like superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing, I have no connection to anything. And this is where like I'm fine with that. I can go into movies saying like I have no connection, but at least it looks good.
Yeah.
This did not look good to me. Raimi's direction did not save it. I think everything still looks fake and plastic, and nothing ever looks real, and there's no depth. There's nothing interesting to look at.
Yeah.
I was only watching it because I was like, okay, Sam Raimi, that'll be entertaining. I did not see enough of him in it to
I don't know. I feel
my general attention.
Some people have been saying that, but I feel like it's definitely the most visually interesting Marvel movie, like hands down. Like, there's a lot more going on in it than there are in other ones. I'm not saying that it's great visually. I'm saying it's better.
You're saying the bar is so low.
Yes, yeah.
I don't even know if I can stomach the others then.
Dude, yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home it's rough. There's there's apartment scenes in it that for some reason are CGI. When like you could just build like a set, it's just a small apartment. It's like, it's ridiculous.
That's one thing. The only thing I liked was when they did the big expository scene as what's going on, and they did the classic Raimi, like people were like fading in and out and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like the old like 90s horror movie stuff. I was like, okay, this is awesome.
Did you get to the part when Scarlet Witch is in her multiversal counterpart's apartment or like house or whatever, and with the kids?
There was the beginning scene when she woke up from her dream.
Oh, okay. Well, later in the movie, she her like presence goes there. I don't remember what. I don't remember anything about the movie, to be honest. But like, I remember that scene because it was like actually like it was executed like in a very Raimi way, where it was actually really creepy and like well done. It's like, so there's some stuff like later in the movie I feel like that feel a lot more Raimi-ish, I guess. Because I could see what you mean, but if you just watch like the first like hour, because all you see is like that like weird tentacle monster at the beginning, which has no point, and it's just like a CGI like slugfest. And then
I don't know. I just hope I hope my Carolina's not listening to this, but I just hope she forgets about it and I don't have to finish it. But we'll see. So maybe I'll have an update.
Honestly, by the end of the movie, it's like my big issue with that movie is that like by the end of it, like nothing is really changed. Other than
like nothing happened, really?
Yeah, other than Scarlet Witch being like out of the equation now. Like that's really it. That he just defeated her, and then that's about it. I don't know. I figured this would be like the linchpin of the whole multiverse arc they're going through. But it wasn't really. It was just kind of like their multiverse stuff in it. I don't know. It's really hard to explain.
Maybe they're testing the waters. Is this too confusing?
That's the problem. It's like it feels like they're doing that with every movie now, where it's like we're all building up to a thing, and then the thing happens, but then then at the same time we're also building up to the next thing. So it's like,
so they're just constantly building up.
Yeah, they keep threading you through on and on and on. Phase 1 through 3 of it were fine because that led up to Thanos, that whole thing. That to me was a satisfying conclusion, but like, I don't know, this recent phase has all just been like, it feels like they're building up, but it's to nothing. I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but like,
As
I don't know.
you're talking, my brain is turning into sludge.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't be talking about it this much.
No, it's okay. This is just so otherworldly to me.
I know
that I
yeah.
like forget. I genuinely don't realize. Like, this is gonna sound really mean, but watching them really makes me understand why I hate them so much.
Okay.
Like that sounds really mean, but like sometimes I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, am I too hard on it? Maybe it's not that bad. And then I watch it, and 10 minutes in, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Now I understand why people hate things, you know?
Yeah. No,
But that's
yeah,
just
I get
me.
you.
So
It has been getting on my bad side more recently, like I said, with this recent phase. But I don't know. It and for most part for me, it's like I read comics as a kid, especially
Yeah.
DC, and some Marvel, not a whole lot of Marvel. And like my dream always as a kid was to like see like
have those movies.
yeah, like have a crap load of those movies. Like, and if I was a kid, if I was like 15 years younger, I would be in heaven.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ, like there's so much
kids
stuff.
love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
The
they're
only thing-
kids' movies.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, but
They're
when
made
you
for
get, when you
kids.
get it down to it, yeah, they're kids movies that like most of the time have something for everybody in it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
normal general audience people, not like cinema buffs or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, so that's where I'm coming at. It's like I have a real emotional attachment to it, just from it's a childhood.
I get
thing,
that.
you know, and I understand they're not very well made, but I will stand by
Yeah.
that they're for the most part well written, or they're at least smartly written most of the time.
I'll agree to disagree with you on that one. But
Yeah, no, I
but
get it,
I
get
can't
it.
talk because I'll watch fucking Hellraiser 8 and have a blast. So
I don't blame you for that either. Those have
I'm not one to talk.
even movies like that have a certain degree of fun to them, you know. So I get that.
Well, now that we've just talked about Marvel for like 10 minutes,
Yeah.
but however, we can segue. I can have a segue
Yeah.
because the Black Phone is what we watch, which is directed by Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange.
That's right.
So, and he also directed Sinister, which is where Ethan Hawke comes in. That's my guess.
Oh, I forgot that he directed that. Oh, cool.
Yeah, he did, and he's done like all his stuff is horror movies other than Doctor Strange.
So this guy's specialty is like that, like grainy film horror footage, like 70s, 80s. Interesting.
Yeah. He did that other movie. Was it like The Exorcism of Emily something?
Oh, he did that as well. Jeez. So
yeah.
he really is like that. Okay.
He's a horror guy. The rest of his projects I didn't recognize. They were just lower budget, random horror stuff.
Right.
But he did this newest one, The Black Phone, which is which I'm sure everyone has seen the trailer because it's like you said. I think you said like it's been on like the trailer's been out for like 2 years or something like that.
It feels.
I
like
know
it.
I've seen it like 5 times in theaters.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
But,
I remember seeing a trailer for it at least a year ago with some of the movies last summer. So it's
Yeah.
like, I'm sure it's been longer than that.
Like I
though.
remember seeing this trailer and then seeing the Uncharted trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
after
And
it.
that was like, I don't even know when that was.
And that came out forever ago.
yeah.
But yeah, so The Black Phone is essentially about Ethan Hawke, who plays a deranged serial killer magician, kidnaps children, and one kid who is kidnapped gets calls on this like broken phone in this soundproof room of the past victims that help him escape. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty straightforward plot.
It really is.
And I almost wish they kept it that way, but I understand you got to stretch it out. To be, feature length. But what was your thought on it? Because I think you liked this one a little bit more than me. You were giving it a bit more credit than I was.
Well, I think as the more I thought about it as I got out of the theater, which by the way, this movie is the first movie that we've actually watched together for the podcast, or like we both went to the theater and watched it.
We were there.
And
then struggled not to talk about it.
Yeah, because we wanted to try to save it for this.
Which we failed to do a lot of.
Yeah.
But we'll get better.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was pretty good overall. I felt like the more I thought about it, the worse it got for me. Like, as we were coming out of the theater and we were just like walking back to the car, it was like, it just really started to hit like how much stuff, like the little things I thought about during the movie that I don't really know why I didn't like, kind of realized why I didn't like it. Like, but I mean, I liked the beginning of the movie, like almost the first like third of it a lot, where like,
I feel like it has a really strong first act and third act. Mm-hmm. But the middle is just really pushing it, I feel like.
Yeah. It felt very repetitive in the middle for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just kind of the same three things happening over and over.
Yeah.
And it makes sense in order to get the third act, what happens, because it's building up to it. But in the moment, it's just kind of like, okay, we're doing this again. Okay, same thing happened. Okay, we're doing this again. Okay, same thing happened. Okay.
Yeah, I almost would have like, because as we'll talk about it further, like the part of the movie that we're calling repetitive is when the kid is actually in the basement of the killer's house, and it's kind of like going through, like, I'm sure we've all seen from the trailers, like he gets help from kids who have been previously killed by the killer. So, and it kind of goes to each kid one at a time, and basically they tell him about a way they tried to get out, and he basically just tries that way again, even though it didn't work for them. And like,
well, to be fair, one kid was like, "Oh, I didn't have time," or something like that. So
that's true. The one that was digging the hole or whatever.
Yeah. There was a couple of them. I'll get into that when we talk spoilers. That I was like, okay, if you tried this, then wouldn't there be physical evidence of it? Well, I mean, I guess to be fair, Ethan Hawke could have just fixed the holes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess he could have cleaned it up. But I see what you mean. Like, I would have liked it more if the ghost children worked together more, because they seem to just be like independent of each other. And like, it's like when he starts like, oh, you could, like, one of the kids is like, oh, you could try to like use these wires, try to get up to that window or whatever. And it's like so early in the movie, it's not going to work.
Right.
So it's like, it almost feels like a waste of time where you're like, oh God. And then they all sort of all lead together, I guess, at the end. But like, I felt like it would have been better to see like those ghost children working together more. They have like a plan based on what they've tried before, but it wasn't really like that.
They also weren't all that helpful.
No,
like, they would scare him. And I'm like, what the hell? Why would you spook him if you're trying to help him?
Yeah, it was really strange. It was strange.
I think this is a really good movie if you just it's like late at night, you want to turn your brain off and just watch a scary movie.
Yeah.
I think this is fine. Like, I like this movie. It's fine. That's how I put it. Like, it's not bad. The premise is interesting enough, and it's executed well enough to hold my interest.
Right.
But there's just parts that kind of just slug through.
And I think a part of that makes the movie, I think for both you and I, is that Ethan Hawke is in it. Like,
yeah, he's great.
Yeah, if it was anyone but him, I feel like I'd be a lot less interested in it.
I think it would be a lot more cringy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is something I want to talk about is, you know my affinity towards children, right? Oh, yeah, that sounds really bad.
Yeah, where's this going?
I'm not, no, I'm doing the opposite. I'm not a fan of children.
Oh, you don't like children. Okay.
I don't like. Let me make an official statement. I do not like children.
I'm editing that part out.
Yeah, you're just gonna edit out the "do not." Just I like children.
It'll be you say I have an affinity for children, and it'll go right to that part. I love children.
I have an affinity. Let me be clear. I have an affinity for children. I like children.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Trump speech that he would say.
Honestly, yeah, either Trump or
Let
Obama.
me be clear about the children. I like all children. But the point I was getting to before I was accused of being a pedophile is child actors are a real struggle. I feel like they make and break movies. And this one didn't have a lot of good ones.
No.
Nothing against the children. They're doing their best. The only one that was good was the sister.
Yeah, she was awesome, I thought.
She was really good.
Yeah.
Especially there's a scene of her getting abused by her father, and it's a really believable cry.
Yeah. I'll say it, it's the most believable crying I've seen in a movie from a kid.
Yeah.
It's
it was
crazy.
The main kid isn't that bad.
No, he's fine.
But the other kids are not great, and I would say bad a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the dialogue is not good either for them. So I don't think they have a lot to... They don't talk like kids.
No, they talk like adults. They talk like a 30-year-old guy.
And kids don't know how to swear like that.
No.
You know?
And they seem to have a lot of emotional intelligence as well. It just didn't line up with their age at all.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be middle school, right? 7th, 8th grade, maybe.
That's what I got, yeah.
Yeah, but especially one of the kids that was killed, he was the bully kid who was supposed to be really hard, he was fuck this, fuck that.
Yeah.
He's he answers the phone, he's what the fuck do you want, you fucking ass fart face? And it's dude, calm down.
He's trying a little too hard.
He's trying really hard. It's it's like when you're a kid and you realize you can swear when your parents aren't around. So you're just trying to swear at every chance you get. That's
so
what he
accurate.
sounded like.
That's really accurate.
That took me out a lot of it, especially during the phone calls, and I feel like that's the most interesting part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was unfortunate, but hey, nothing against the kids. Good job getting your paycheck.
They tried.
You did your best with what you had.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the dialogue was in their favor at all.
Yeah, some of that, especially some of that dialogue early on was hey. It's hard to read that convincingly, even for an adult actor. So
yeah, and some of the lines by Ethan Hawke were pretty on the nose too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he wasn't too subtle about right. The character, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, going into it, when I saw the first thing, I was oh, it's based on a short story. I was okay, so that's usually a bad thing for movies because the writers have to fill in the padding, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's short stories are good because there's one really interesting premise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard to expand upon in a meaningful way to where you don't wear that premise out.
Oh, right.
And I guess they didn't do it with this. I guess they stayed really true to the short story, but my theory is they added the sister and a lot of those characters doing stuff.
Okay.
As extra, which that for me felt like padding. And I was a lot less interested in that. And it didn't lead to anything.
No, and I felt like some of the scenes with the sister clashed with the tone of the rest of the movie as well.
Yeah.
Where like some of the sister scenes are like, I remember like Kit from like a basement scene with the kid being trapped in there. It's like really dark, and you like just saw Ethan Hawke with he like threw his eggs on the ground or some shit. And it cuts to like the sister in her room like praying to Jesus, and it's a funny scene, but it like it comes out of nowhere, and it feels like we just went from one tone like all the way to the other extreme with just like a one cut, and it was
like tonally it's very inconsistent, and that just feels like its own movie. You know, like oh, this sister's brother goes missing and she has visions. You know, that seems like a movie of its own.
Yeah, it does, honestly.
Which is kind of like a very common trope they do with kids, like psychic children. One thing that I don't know if I like it or not is that they really don't tell you anything. Like, you don't know why Ethan Hawke is a freak. You don't know why the sister sees these visions. You don't know how the phone works or why it works.
Right.
But and I almost like that.
I was fine with that.
I would be more fine with it if it was just like the phone and Ethan Hawke being a weirdo. But just the whole sister thing, I was like, okay, now there's another supernatural element.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It just felt like too much supernatural elements, and it almost felt like because of that there needed to be a connection.
Right.
And there wasn't at all.
That makes sense, yeah. They had to give us like some hint. They don't have to outright explain it, but just something.
Yeah.
That gives us something to chew on. Yeah.
Well,
I get
I mean,
what you mean.
For the phone, Ethan Hawke does mention it right away, because the kid immediately goes for the phone, and he's like, oh, that hasn't worked since I was a kid. So that establishes
he did say that.
There's something of importance of the phone, and I think it also establishes that probably his father did the exact same thing he's doing to the kids.
Oh,
you know, like he was probably abused.
That's interesting.
He was the naughty boy.
Right.
That's how I read it. Because I think that's another common theme. Because their dad was abusive. So I don't know.
That makes sense, actually. I didn't think about it that way, but that makes a lot of sense. I bet that's what they were trying to go for.
That's I get into the mind of the killers. You know.
You get into the
Put
mind
me on
of
one of those
Scott Derrickson.
Crime docs. Yeah, I get in mind of Scott Derrickson. Ooh, these make this kid say fuck a lot. Oh shit.
Like this really skinny kid a mullet. That'll make him look tough.
Yeah, make him look like he's in the 80s, even though it's the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I actually do appreciate this movie, and I read in an interview, he was actually going for this, is he didn't like that now all these time period movies like 70s and 80s are like the glam, like Stranger Things really glorifies like the 80s, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, no, I want to like show the 70s like how it was, you know? Like Midwest 70s, just very boring, very plain.
Right.
Kids walking home from school, you know, your local grocery store, just that kind of stuff, which I appreciate a lot. Because I think we both growing up in the Midwest, I really connect to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's weird, like, connecting to a time that I didn't exist in. But the fact that it relatively remains unchanged, you know?
It's kind of comforting in a way.
Yeah, it's a very comforting time. I don't know. I feel like growing up in the Midwest as a kid is like the least stressful.
It's true. Yeah.
It's boring, but there's not a whole lot going on, and that's like kind of a good thing.
Yeah, and I feel like he, as well, going off of that, I like that he like you said, it's like a lot of shows will glamorize the 70s, 80s eras, but like he really like pins it down where it's like too like there's a lot of darkness to these areas as well, where it's like you had like as a hotbed of like serial killings and like kids going missing. Like you really get that impression from this, I feel like.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like other stuff like does this like Paul Thomas Anderson, like Licorice Pizza is it is like a glorification of the 70s, but he's also showing you like it's almost ironic because it is super fucking depressing.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like on the surface, yeah, it's great, but we also had all these problems we were dealing with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of the PTA, this is my thought. Like early in the movie when the dad is eating breakfast and the kids like can't make a noise.
Oh,
I thought that was like a Phantom Thread reference. Because that's like an exact thing where like Daniel Day-Lewis character doesn't like any noise at breakfast time. Like, he can't start his day with confrontation. So like even like in the movie, like she's like scraping like butter on toast and it like bothers him.
Oh my
and like
God.
it causes a whole fight. And that's where I thought they were going with it. And the interview I was reading, the interview was even like, hey, is this like a Phantom Thread reference? And the guy was like, no. Like he's just like, we just wanted to show that the kids were like scared of their father.
Oh my God. That's funny.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Would you recommend Phantom Thread? I've heard a lot of good things about that.
I love Phantom Thread.
Awesome.
Phantom Thread is incredible. It is insanely romantic is not the best word to use, but I think it's still on Netflix. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
I quote that movie almost every day to Carolina, and she's never seen it, so she has no clue what I'm talking about. But like whenever I'm like laying in bed, I'll be like, "Kiss me, darling, before I am sick." She's like, "What the hell? Are you sick?" And I'm like, "No, it's from Phantom Thread." But no, yeah, Phantom Thread's awesome.
I gotta watch that shit, man.
It's definitely
I'm so behind.
Up there on my PTA rankings. Paul Thomas Anderson is a lot like Studio Ghibli for me, where it's like I could tell you my least favorite one, but it's still like a masterpiece, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's good by
like
its standards.
Yeah, it's like trying to like me pick what my least favorite like ice cream is. You know? It's like they're all incredible.
Right.
So yeah, okay, I'm done going. I gotta stop myself, or I'll talk about PTA for the next like 30 minutes.
No, it's okay. I like hearing about it.
Yeah, well, I did want to go into about the short story, which was written by Joe Hill, which I found out is the son of Stephen King. And I guess Joe Hill is his pen name because he doesn't want to be like associated with his dad, which is cool.
Yeah.
You know, that's awesome.
I'm assuming, is it because he doesn't want to like look like he's like riding on the coattails of his dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That
Exactly that. And that's actually, it's funny in the story. It is a clown because he loved it as a kid, like the movie.
Yeah.
And so he wrote thinking just like, oh, it's a clown, and he was picturing kind of like John Wayne Gacy type.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know there's a lot of psychology behind like Gacy's makeup, why he's so like fucking scary?
Really?
Because he was the first clown to do points. Like all other clowns are like really rounded makeup. You know, they have the rounded lips, they have like the rounded around the eyes. He was the first one to do like triangles and points.
Interesting.
So I guess that just makes him scary. I
can see that.
People think like psychologists believe like he's the reason why like clowns are now scary, because like something about that points. He wasn't a very good clown from what I've heard, but yeah, so he loved it, so he was kind of like inspired by that. Like he was kind of picturing a clown like Pennywise committing these crimes, but the writers changed Ethan Hawke's character to a magician because the new It's are so popular. They didn't want it to think that they're just riding on the coattails of it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, clowns are scary right now. Let's do a clown. So that's why they made him a magician.
I like that. I think that differentiates it enough, I guess. And I can see what you mean. Like even the child characters, like in them going up against like something really dark and sinister, like is like I can see where that is inspired by it. Like this movie is pretty much that.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, it's just a bit more grounded, and I mean, actually, I shouldn't say. I was going to say less surreal, but then this kid's talking to ghost children.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess wrong. But one thing that's funny is when they originally wrote it, they were intentionally never going to show the guy's face. Like they were planning to do like the mask the whole way through, and the abduction scene they were just going to film around his face. But then when they got Ethan Hawke, they're like, "Fuck, we got to show his face. He's Ethan Hawke."
Yeah,
you know,
right? Yeah.
So they did show his face in full that one scene when he was like abducting the kid.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, "Oh, that's pretty funny."
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I was reading, I guess, the mask. I wasn't sure what it was based off of. I thought it was something maybe like Japanese because it kind of looked like the Onis, you know?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you what if there's an inspiration for the mask.
So they got inspired by, I guess, magicians in the 30s and 40s. Their plays or whatever their shows would always be in two parts, or like clowns too, where it would be the fun guy first for the first half of the show, and the second half would be the devil. And he'd be showing all his like sinister tricks. So that's what they were kind of going off of.
Oh, okay.
And he did say that the reason the masks change throughout is like his different mood or like different characters, which there is a line where I think the kid asks like, "Oh, did you kill the boys?" And he's like, "No, I didn't." So that was like, that mask didn't kill him, but the other mask did.
Oh, I see. That's
Which
cool.
I was worried they were going to get into like Split territory.
Oh, God.
I was like, oh, is this just going to be Split? But I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, they
just made
hinted
Ethan Hawke
at
a
it.
freak.
Yeah, that's great. And that mask was
That's
cool
what I
looking
liked.
too. I loved how it.
Yeah.
He seemed you could like take different parts of it off and like add parts
Yeah.
to it. It was like really
Interchangeable.
unique and weird. Yeah, I like that a lot.
It was cool. Yeah. I mean, I guess the last little fun fact was that he actually left Multiverse of Madness to direct this. I guess he's been writing this for like a while because he really likes the story and he got like Joe Hill's approval. And then when he left Multiverse of Madness, he's like, "Fuck that," and he's like, "Hey, let's do Black Phone," like immediately. Like he wasn't even hung up on like the Doctor Strange stuff.
Yeah.
He actually said he wanted to do something like this more than like a big superhero thing. So
Yeah, I
that's
don't
pretty
blame
cool.
him. I feel like I don't like the Doctor Strange movie, but I don't love this movie, but I feel like this is a much more worthwhile script to direct and make into a movie than Doctor Strange. Like,
Yeah.
I think this is a lot more interesting to watch for me. I'm sure it was for you as well.
Oh, yeah. It was a fun time in the theater.
Yeah.
My final complaint about this is my biggest complaint. I'll complain about this in any horror movie. Is all the unnecessary jump scares.
Oh God, yeah. Glad you
There were
mentioned
some that weren't even warranted. Like there were some I get, like spooky ghost people. There's some like just girl just riding her bike and then bam.
Oh yeah, it was like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was
It was
the
like
one
unneeded.
that
It
scared
just
the living
went to
shit
the
out
next
of me.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't expect it.
No.
I don't know.
And it was so loud.
I don't like jump scares, so, and not even just like because they scare me. Like I just get startled by the noise, you know. But like I just think it's cheap thrills. I rather be creeped out than startled.
Yeah, I'm generally
But-
against jump scares as well, because it's like, especially ones like this movie had, where most of them literally were just a loud sound happening,
Yeah,
like,
and just
and
out
it's
of
like-
nowhere too.
I know, and that would like jump a toddler who's not even watching the movie.
Yeah.
It's like it's so lazy, and it like that feels like something to like get like younger people stimulated who like might be on their phones.
It is a
during the movie.
Blumhouse movie.
Yeah.
So. You know.
I think the worst example of that is like the fucking Paranormal Activity movies.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are horrible with that. Oh my god. Because
Hey,
it's
they're
like,
commercially successful. That's what brings the people in.
I guess it's just that they're just so lazy. Because all I remember about them is like, I think the first one is decent. It's not terrible, but like the ones after that are just awful. It's like it's literally just an hour and a half like roller coaster ride, where like you're just like the parts that are quiet and its characters talking. That's like you're going up the hill
You're going up.
and then all of a sudden something really loud happens and like a glass falls off the table. That's your little dip down the hill, and you start rising back up again. So it's like that's literally all they are. It's just so annoying.
Oh my gosh, are you agreeing with Martin Scorsese by saying that all horror movies are theme park rides?
No, did he say that? He said that about superhero movies.
No, that's what he
horror?
said that about super. No, I was just joking. 'Cause That's what he said about superhero movies, which I agree with him on that, and I agree with you what you're saying there.
No, I mean, like I think we could both agree. There's a good way to do a jump scare.
Oh, I was just about to say,
yeah.
the best way to do it, best example of a jump scare is Mulholland Drive. Easily.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the same one.
That is engraved in my mind. And the best, like, I guess, use of an anti-jump scare is the ending of Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Like, that is ingrained in my mind, and just nothing happens, So
Right?
there's really clever ways to do a jump scare. And I always prefer this stuff, I think, kind of more like Blair Witch. Even like Lake Mungo, like that scene.
Oh, right.
I think it's very similar to Mulholland Drive. I would compare them. They're like almost identical.
They are.
Yeah. Well, my perspective is, in Mulholland Drive, he's explaining the scene, right? Like he set it up. Like I had this dream. I'm here. You're here. You go over there and pay, and then we go out back. But he doesn't want to remember what's back there. So you already know there's something like ominous. And we're slowly walking out there. So we know something's going to happen, but we don't know what, right?
Right.
Like we have no expectations. And there's no music or anything. He just comes out, the creature or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And that's very similar with Lake Mungo, where the phone is just following the ground and we're following a path. We don't know what. And then suddenly there's just a thing. Like it doesn't jump out and go boo. It's just like, oh, it's there.
Right.
And I think that's a good jump scare.
Yeah, the Lake Mungo one is, both of those are so memorable. But yeah, that Lake Mungo one is like so effective. Because it's like, it's a little different from the Mulholland Drive one. Because it's like, with the Lake Mungo one, you don't know what you're about to see. You're literally just like,
you don't. There's no build up.
Yeah, you're just like, you're following a camera that's just walking into the darkness. And you're like, what the fuck am I about to see? And then the Mulholland Drive one, it's still scary as fuck. But like in the scene before, he explains exactly what happens. And it's still really terrifying somehow. It's so weird. It's so well done.
Well, we've got our love for David Lynch out of the way in this episode.
I feel like we hit all of the bullet points. We talked about Marvel. We talked about all that kind of shit we always talk about.
We haven't made a reference to Halloween and gotten riled up about it, but we still have some time.
That's true. Yeah.
I think now is a good time to go into spoiler territory, and we'll just kind of break down the movie.
Okay.
So spoiler ahead. Essentially, our movie starts with our main character, Finn, and his sister, I guess, is also a main character, and they are in a home with an abusive father, and the sister has dreams, and her dreams are basically like visions of the future and the past.
Yeah.
Because she sees the other kids that were taken. I don't know. And their mom was psychic, but she killed herself, but that doesn't come into play anywhere. I guess other than to explain why the daughter, I don't know. That's me with a lot of this movie. Explaining the plot is just, I don't know, I guess. You know?
I don't know what they were trying to imply with that. I don't know if they were trying to imply that, like, because the mom said that she could hear voices and like the voices told her to kill herself or whatever. Is that like implying that like schizophrenia is really like a form of like supernatural ability or something like that?
Well,
I don't know.
I know back in the day they thought that was like, if you were schizophrenic, you were like a witch, you know?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. In this case, I think they were just, we need a reason for the dad to be abusive and we need a reason for the daughter to see things.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, it's made aware that kids have gone missing around the neighborhood, and it's a well-known thing. And eventually our main character's, I guess, his best friend gets abducted as well. And my thing is, if they already had like what, there was like 4 kidnappings before this one, you think the town would be kind of on like lockdown. Like, hey,
yeah,
kids, you know, maybe we should like chaperone our kids to school. You know, let's have a curfew. The cops were so bad in this movie. The cops did nothing.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, and we'll
They
get
were
into later. They
useless.
put way too much trust into a little girl who just has dreams.
Yeah. And they don't put trust into a man that actually figured it out.
Yeah, well, oh God, yeah. I'll talk about that soon when we get to it.
Yeah, so basically, eventually then our Finney gets kidnapped and he wakes up in this, like, basically this concrete soundproof basement. And the only thing in there is a barred window that's kind of higher up, you know, like the basement, like gutter windows. And then there's like a little side hallway with a toilet. And that's it. And in that room, in the middle of the room, there's a mattress on the floor and on the phone that's the wires cut. And Ethan Hawke's like, hey, I'm going to kill you. Okay, bye. And he just like fucks off. So the kid gets a call, and I think the first kid, doesn't he tell him to like, that he started digging a hole in a certain spot, but he didn't have enough time.
Yeah, he tells him like which tile to like look under to find the hole.
So Finn starts digging a hole. He gets about, I don't know, maybe like for an average adult, like shoulder deep, which is pretty good. But he doesn't have time, so he covers it up with like a rug that's in the room, so you can't see the hole.
Right.
And then this is when basically the Ethan Hawke like brings him food or whatever, and then I don't really know what Ethan Hawke's plan was, you know? Like, I understand like if you would go down there and like mentally psych him out, but he really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of watches them.
Yeah, I don't really know what that's my thing with the movie. Like, it's like, I feel like if you're going to expand any part of this story, you expand the part when he's not in the room.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, where you build up all the characters a little bit before this horrible thing happens, then it means more when people start disappearing. And then also for Ethan Hawke's killer character, because you could like have him like read about him in the newspaper, like
right.
Like the police's theories about his like motives or like his patterns. Like there could be like the kid goes missing, and then the third day after that he dies. So then there's like
something like
the kid knows that he only's got like 3 days before he's gone.
Yeah,
so
add some kind of time, because there really isn't any. You're not sure,
right? Yeah,
when he's gonna die.
Yeah, you get like little hints of it. Like you don't really. There's no like ticking clock element really, other than he might kill you at any moment, which I guess is kind of scary. But
yeah, I guess they went for more of the unpredictable kind of killer.
Yeah, which I get, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the next kid tells him that there's like a cord holding some rugs together, and he can use that to like wrap around the window that he can climb up and try to like open so he could yell for help. And that doesn't work because he ends up just pulling the bars down. And then, meanwhile, his sister is having visions of what she gets. Like, she sees the abduction. She sees like the van with the balloons. And the police are interested in her because she told them about the balloons, and they have found balloons at the abduction sites, but they didn't release that to the public.
Right. Yeah.
So that's where they're like, hey, maybe this girl is psychic and she needs to dream.
It couldn't be that she's just made a random good guess. It's that she is psychic.
She is psychic. And the dad's like, I'm going to beat the psychic out of you because my wife died. So I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Oh, God. Yeah, the way the dad was written was like really comical. It was way over the top.
I mean, yeah, he was really giving it like 100, you know?
He was. Yeah, you got to give it to the guy playing him. You know,
I guess
best.
I think what they were trying to do is make the kids relatable to the Ethan Hawke's killer character, the grabber, because like abuse is like a cyclical cycle. That was my guess. What they were trying to go with it.
Yeah.
Maybe have the kid understand on some level what the killer went through. But then he never actually tries to reason with him at all, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
That was my problem too. With the scenes where the Ethan Hawke and the kid interact, the kid barely talks to him.
No.
He'll like say a word or two, and he just kind of stands there scared. And it's like, well, that's not fun.
Yeah. I guess the kid doesn't want to reveal that he's talking to ghosts. I don't know.
But even if the kid was just trying to figure out why he's doing this, like the kid didn't even try, which I mean, it would have been interesting from a movie viewer's perspective, I guess.
Yeah. But then the kid gets another call, and this is that really bad acting kid that I told about that was supposed to be like that tough kid. And he tells him that there's like a weak spot in the wall that leads to like a storage room where they have a freezer. So he bashes a hole in the wall, gets into the freezer where there's just a bunch of like frozen steaks, but he can't get out because it's locked on the other side. Meanwhile, the sister has more visions about that kid, and I think she gets a number, which is like the home address, but she doesn't see the house. She just has a number.
Right.
Meanwhile, I don't remember at which point this happens in the movie, but the police eventually, I think once Finn goes missing, they're like searching everywhere. So they're going house to house. Have you seen this kid? Blah, blah, blah. And they go to a house of a guy who's on a lot of coke that has like basically triangulated the disappearances and is like, hey, I think the killer is in one of these houses because he would need to get the kids back home really fast without anyone seeing. So he would have to be within this area. And the cops were like, huh, yeah, okay, buddy, see ya. Like, that was really... I'd understand if he was like, because he was on cocaine. I guess that's why they dismissed him. But
yeah,
I would understand if he was like, well, I believe the killer is a alien and blah, blah, blah. You know, he's trying to take out the hearts of these kids and eat them.
Yeah.
You know, just something like crazy. But he was like actually giving like good police work.
I know. Yeah. And what he was saying was smart, because I think he also says something about like, he figured out like, well, if you're going to catch a kid, you're going to have to be in a car. And then if you're going to get the kid out of the car without anyone seeing, you need a garage. So then he was like, oh, I've pinpointed all of these houses in this area with a garage. And it's like, that seems really valuable. Like, why wouldn't you just check that out? You got nothing else to go on.
The cops just fucked off.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to go talk to this little girl with weird dreams.
Because one of the cops is supposed to be the stupid cop. Too.
Oh.
Like, one was supposed to be the hard ass, and the other was kind of the dumb one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But meanwhile, like the final kid, who was his best friend, who I guess was just a good fighter, basically told him, "Hey, fill up the phone with dirt, pack it tight so it's heavy, and I'm gonna teach you a move you can use on him." Mm-hmm. So he basically teaches him how to, like, it was like go forward, back step, forward, back, and then swing.
Right.
And the kid practices it, and that cool, you know, he's ready. This is when like it kicks into the third act and all the pieces are connecting, but then it doesn't matter in the end. So the sister sees a vision, and she actually sees the house. So she goes out looking for it. She finds it, calls the police. So the police are on their way. Meanwhile, the guy upstairs finds out, like, realizes it's the house he's in, and it's Ethan Hawke, his brother, who's the killer and all that. And he goes down there and opens the door. And I was really worried because I thought the kid was gonna whack the guy. Oh, with the phone. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so dumb if he knocks him out.
Yeah,
you know. But then the guy like opens the door and he's like, holy shit, my brother's the grabber. And then Ethan Hawke puts an axe in the back of his head.
God, I hated this scene. Can I just say, I hate that
really?
The brother character.
Yeah, it felt really unnecessary.
Yeah, because that scene when we were talking about earlier where he's like snorting coke and like telling the police his theories, it's like it's a funny scene, but it's like it's a very serious movie, and it like that's another one of those things where it like the tone of the movie is going like back and forth, like and it feels like you're getting whiplash.
All the humor is really out of place.
Yeah, it really is. And like I hated that scene when he opens the door to the kid in the basement because he doesn't open it all the way.
Yeah.
And like you can only see his face, and I instantly knew like he was gonna come up behind him and hit him with an axe. Like
it was obvious.
There's no reason that he would do that other than to keep suspense, to not show someone coming down the stairs.
Yeah. So he gets axed in the back of the head. Police are on their way. Ethan Hawke's like, I'm gonna kill you now, kid, because you made me kill my brother. I'm mad. You're a naughty boy. And the kid basically whacks him with the phone, runs into that hallway where he set up like a tripwire. Mm-hmm. So Ethan Hawke like falls into that hole and like breaks his like ankle.
Yeah,
which is actually pretty gnarly. Yeah. And then the kid strangles him. And I think one of the dumber parts of the movie is he puts up the phone, like the phone rings, and the kid's like, it's for you, and puts it up. And it's just like like you said, reused audio of the kids' conversations.
Oh yeah, it's like they like stitched together dialogue from earlier in the movie with the kids, and it sounds like terrible.
And it's supposed to be very emotional.
Yeah, that was weird. It's like if you wanted to be emotional, have the kids record new dialogue and like do something smart. I
would be fine if the kids were just like, hey, grabber, fuck you.
Yeah,
you know?
Literally. Yeah. Like it's just say eat shit and die. Like they like to insert as many cuss words in this movie as possible. Yeah.
Oh, one thing I want to talk about in this movie, Scott Derrickson really likes people punching each other. There are so many unnecessary like fight scenes. You know, have you noticed that?
There kind of are.
There was like the kid fight in the beginning, the kid getting bullied, another one where the kid gets bullied and his sister punches him. That fight in like the Quickie Mart place.
Oh,
there's
the
just
arcade.
So many. Yeah, there's just so many people getting punched.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he just figured out like that really good, satisfying sound effect and was just like, oh, we got to use it. Or he thinks maybe just his work on Marvel, he's like, if it doesn't have action in certain intervals.
working in the MCU like broke his brain.
Yeah.
So now he thinks he has to have a punching scene every 10 minutes.
They told me people need to get punched every 10 minutes or they walk out of the theater and I lose money. Disney will get my left testicle. They already have my right one.
That was to get out of my
So-
contract with Doctor Strange 2. I had to give him my right testicle.
Yeah, they had a doctor there right when I signed. Yeah, but meanwhile this is going on. The police go to that house, but no one's there. But in the basement, there was a bunch of bodies buried. They're like, oh, this is where he takes the body. But where does he do the killing? Meanwhile, the kid has already taken out Ethan Hawke. And Ethan Hawke had a guard dog, and he just uses the stakes from earlier, distracts the dog, and he gets out. The sister's like, there he is. And the movie's over.
It really does just end like that.
This is where my two major flaws are.
Yeah.
One, the police and the sister did absolutely nothing. It didn't matter if she found it because he already got out, right?
Right.
Say they weren't there. He would just walk out and go straight home. You know? Then another thing is, for Ethan Hawke letting his brother stay, why would you not have your brother live in the house that does not have a children in a dungeon? You know? I feel like it's easier to hide dead bodies, right?
Right.
Like, John Wayne Gacy had like 28 kids in a crawl space and invited the police over, and they didn't notice.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure your coked out brother wouldn't notice a bunch of dead kids.
Right. Especially if you're not even letting him in the basement like he wasn't like he was before. It's like, it seems pretty easy.
Those were my two main complaints, and I think they're just big plot holes that really weigh everything down.
Right. And it was like, it's one of those stupid things in movies that I hate. I absolutely hate, where the only reason it's like that, it ignores all logic to make some kind of a mystery, like make some kind of like thing that you don't expect happen.
They do the fake out.
Right. Yeah. And it's just annoying as hell.
But it doesn't matter because they resolve it immediately.
Yeah, exactly. That was the other stupid thing about it.
They're like, oh, it's a fake house. Where's the real house? We got to get to him before this killer guy kills him. Meanwhile, cut to the kid strangling Ethan Hawke. Like, I don't know.
I like that one joke we made where we said the police would arrest the kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they would see the aftermath. Like, one guy would just immediately puke. Like, oh. Like, where's that kid? Get him in handcuffs. He destroyed that man.
Put an axe through his brother's head.
He put an axe through his head. He destroyed that man's ankle. He killed him with a goddamn phone. Yeah. Knowing how dumb those cops were, they probably would arrest the kid. They're like, you're telling me the kid was the grabber the whole time? Jesus Christ. Another case solved.
I want that movie sounds a whole lot more entertaining.
It turns out Ethan Hawke was captive.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That sounds like something M. Night Shyamalan would do.
Honestly, yeah. Like all of that stuff we saw was like a hallucination by the kid.
Yeah.
To like justify his actions. Oh, God.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ethan Hawke was actually trapped in the house above that was locked. And the kid was laying in that dirty basement by choice. Just reverse Stockholm syndrome.
Oh my God.
There's another check mark for this episode down, is rewrite the movie.
Yeah.
But funny.
We had to get a Whiplash anecdote in too.
He kidnaps Fletcher for some reason.
And J.K. Simmons comes looking for him.
Yeah.
That's Ethan Hawke versus J.K. Simmons.
Ooh, J.K. Simmons the cop?
Dude. We got a movie.
And he beats the shit out of him with a cymbal. No, could you imagine the phone rings and the kid just answers it and it's just the Whiplash? You get like the drum solo in there. It's like, what?
The drums.
and then like it goes quiet, and then there's just like the ghost of like a J.K. Simmons behind him. He's like, "I will fuck you like a pig." That'd be awesome.
Why is Whiplash so funny to make fun of? I have no idea.
I don't know.
It's so weird.
It's something because it's so like serious. I don't know. I think just imagining that character in any situation is funny.
It's like so self-serious that it makes it funny to.
Yeah, I really hope this doesn't ruin Whiplash for me because I like that movie.
No, it's a great movie. It's a good one.
I sweated during that movie. I remember watching it. I was like, "Oh my god, is it hot in here?" Well, I think overall, Black Phone's is good. I was about to say pretty good, but I think it's fine. I don't regret seeing it. I think it's worth seeing it. It's doing very well. I was surprised. Reading it was made only on $3 million, and it made like 23 in the first weekend.
That's awesome.
So,
it's doing better than Lightyear.
I feel like there haven't been much, like, I guess, horror movies out that appeal to the general audience, because I don't think X really has that appeal.
No.
But I feel like there really hasn't been much out.
No. The next one is probably the Nope. Yeah.
Which we'll definitely see.
Oh yeah. So. Even if it isn't a horror movie, it's being marketed like one, so we'll watch it.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it is.
It probably
It's gonna be like sci-fi horror.
Mm-hmm.
That first trailer, definitely horror.
Oh yeah, that first short trailer is actually really scary.
Yeah.
For some reason.
The second one was more funny for some reason, but I guess that's probably gonna be more the style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's how all like Jordan Peele movies are now going to be. It's like they're funny until they're not. But I think that's like a good like tone, right? Like he balances that tone really well.
He does. Like there are a lot of like genuinely frightening scenes in Get Out, and then you also be like 5 minutes really laughing at something.
Yeah,
like he knows how to balance the tone more. This movie does not.
Yeah,
you have a coked out lunatic, and then you have Ethan Hawke like abusing a child in a basement. It's like you can't switch between those two.
What do you mean? Why not?
Unless you're David Lynch, I don't think you can do that.
True. That's very true. All right. God. Well, I guess we're endorsing it, so if you're interested, go see it in theaters near you.
Hey, I was looking. There's literally nothing else worthwhile in theaters right now. So, I mean, unless you really want to see like fucking Lightyear or Elvis, which I saw Lightyear. I would not recommend that movie, so please don't see it.
I was trying to come up with a joke. Like, what if a Toy Story they black phoned Andy? Like they locked him in a basement.
The toys,
yeah. Like God. Woody and Buzz in them.
Yeah,
they're like, you don't want to play with us, we'll play with you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's still the same thing where like the voices of like the toys' past owners are trying to help him defeat the toys.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I also like using he black phoned him like a verb. Like now when kids get abducted, he got black phoned.
He's black phoned.
He black phoned.
Oh god. We need to come up with to get whiplashed. What does that mean?
Whiplashed? I think that just means bullied to suicide.
By J.K. Simmons specifically?
Specifically by J.K. Simmons.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess it's just like a major form of gaslighting. I'm gonna whiplash you.
Oh god.
All right. Let's end this on another failed movie idea. So,
Yes.
Black Phone, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.